We've made a tier list for each of the other 3 Orlando parks, but we saved the OG for last. With so many rides and attractions to cover, I'd narrow things down to 16 rides to rank. Everything else we put into its own tier called We're Not Here for That. That covers your shows like the Enchanted Tiki Room and the Country Bears, your carnival rides like the Teacups, Dumbo, and the regular Carousel, and a few other miscellaneous attractions like Enchanted Tales with Belle, the Disney World Railroad, and the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse. So with all the caveats out of the way, we'll start in Adventureland and end in Tomorrowland. So let's get our swimmies on and start with the Jungle Cruise. The first attraction you'll run into if you start the way Disney intended is this pun-filled boat ride. The Jungle Cruise is a ride I've talked about a lot, and I do love repeating myself. Although I respect this attraction for its history, the experience is extremely hit or miss. Most skippers yell into the microphone, and in being in such a close space, it winds up giving me a headache after 5 minutes. And since scenes are placed on either side of the boat, you spend at least 50% of your cruise twisting your neck to make sure you see everything. By no means is this a terrible experience, but I can't go higher than a C tier. But if you get the perfect experience, I could raise that to a strong B. Staying in Adventureland, we trade our boat in for a ship. A ride that needs no introduction is Pirates of the Caribbean. From its theme song to its vibrant characters, Pirates is as close to non-stop action you'll get in a slow-moving dark ride. I can make the argument that this is the perfect Disney attraction, and that's why that's our first entry in the S tier. As we make our way into Frontierland, we encounter our first thrill ride in Tiana's Bayou Adventure. This will be unfairly compared to Splash Mountain, but judging purely on this ride's merits, it's a little disappointing. I felt they leaned too much into screens and nighttime lighting, moving away from the animatronics this show building was once known for. But with all that being said, it's still an enjoyable experience, and I put it in a solid B tier. Hopping to another e-ticket attraction, Big Thunder Mountain is maybe the least talked about in Disney's mountain range. In 2026, the ride got a refurbishment, and I did enjoy the changes. The track seemed a little bit smoother, and the glowing water in the cave scene was pretty cool. This may be my favorite roller coaster in Magic Kingdom, and the first roller coaster that I ever rode. But with all that nostalgia out of the way, I'll put it next to Tiana in the B tier as well. As we turn the bend and head into Liberty Square, we approach the Haunted Mansion. Filled with 999 happy haunts and greeted by the sound of wolves howling, this Phantom Manor is atop many people's favorite rides list. As much as a contrarian I can be at times, I feel this and Pirates are the 2 attractions I tell people going for their first time never to miss. From Paul Frees as the ghost host to Tony the Tiger singing baritone in the graveyard, the Haunted Mansion is packed with history and immersion unrivaled by anything else you'll see on your Disney vacation. So it goes without saying that this is our second entry in the S tier. From Liberty Square to Fantasyland, we'll start our wait time early as Peter Pan's flight always draws a crowd. Depending on your patience level, that may or may not be a factor on what grade you give this ride as a whole. Speaking purely from my point of view, Peter Pan may be the best 3 minutes you could spend in this land. There's just something about floating over London and Neverland on your pirate ship and seeing scenes play out below you rather than eye level that gives Magic Kingdom a real sense of variety. But as we stated before, its long wait times and short ride duration may turn off some patrons from taking this pixie dust fueled flight. But overall I love this ride, and this will be our first candidate in the A tier. Crossing the street, we trade our wings in for yet another boat ride, but this one is a bit more polarizing. Some people love It's a Small World for its history and 15 minutes of air conditioning, while others hate the dull theming and droning music. I'm the rare person who doesn't have a strong feeling one way or the other, but I do lean towards the more historical value of It's a Small World to Magic Kingdom and just Disney in general. Say what you will about the happiest cruise that ever sailed, but this is a solid B tier attraction for me. It's been a little while since we covered a roller coaster, so let's talk about the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. A beginner-friendly experience for first-time thrill seekers, this pint-sized e-ticket is a mixed bag to say the least. It suffers from similar issues as Peter Pan, where the wait time compared to its ride length may not be worth it to some guests. On the other hand, the mine scene featuring the Seven Dwarfs may make this hour-long trek worth it in the end. For me, I'd rather ride Thunder Mountain if I needed a coaster fix, so this will be sent straight to the C tier. If you're anything like me, this is part of my park day where I start to hit a lull, and waiting online for the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh can give me a headache and get me annoyed. But once we get on our hunting pots, things start to look up just a bit. It does genuinely have some of my favorite scenes in Magic Kingdom, and I always look forward to the rain scene at the end of this attraction. While lacking the excitement I feel for some of the other rides, I think a B rating is a fair place to put everyone's favorite bear. As we enter our last ride in Fantasyland, we board a clamshell and head under the sea. Journey of the Little Mermaid is a little bit of a mixed bag for me. Its show building is amongst the best that Disney has to offer with its rope bridges and waterfalls, but the ride itself is where things get a little disappointing. The attraction is fine, and it's something I could see fans of this movie loving. But for the most part, it feels like a warehouse filled with random fish animatronics, at least in my opinion. I can't say I hate this ride, but I can't give this higher than a C rating. We finally made it to Tomorrowland, and we make our first pit stop in the Tomorrowland Speedway. These slow-moving race cars on a track may be slightly more exciting than watching paint dry. It could be nice to hop on these cars once in a while, but the fun ends the second you turn the wheel and are greeted by the feeling of the car slamming into the track below you. I always thought my dad liked this ride, until he told me he only went on it because he thought I liked it when I was a kid. So even Papa Chicken would put this as our first entry in the D tier. Next, we enter one of the newest and anticipated rides in Magic Kingdom, Tron Light Cycle Run. Now, for whatever reason, the only time I was on this ride was a bad experience. I've told the story before, but I had a woman turning and hitting me with her backpack in front of me, and a child running into the back of my legs behind me for an entire hour. Couple that with the awkward seating you need to do for this ride, and it was just a recipe for disaster. The coaster itself is fine, but nothing I'd write home about. So we're gonna have to put back-to-back D grades, and maybe it's just something I need to give one more shot. Hopping from one coaster to another, heading next door to Space Mountain, we'd go from the old school to new school of Disney Imagineering. I did an entire video of how to improve this ride, so already we're not off to a good start. But the history and what this attraction has meant to not just Disney but rides all over the world can't be understated. The old bumpy track and tired coaster in the dark trope hasn't aged well in my opinion, but its history as previously stated is enough to keep it out of the D tier but will be planted in the C. Taking another short walk over to the People Mover, this is one entry I won't bury the lead and say how much I love this ride. Right off the bat, a lot of people will be yelling at the screen as to how I could love this boring ride but hate Tron. Well, for starters, I don't have to stay hunched over on my stomach and I actually get to sit down, relax, and enjoy my time on this ride. You can even ask the cast member to stay on after your journey has ended. I'm not a big fireworks guy, but riding this at night while they're going off is truly a magical experience and something I highly suggest you try if you haven't already. With all that being said, this is my third selection for the S tier if you haven't guessed already. Heading into our penultimate attraction is a ride I wasn't even sure would be included in this video. Since I didn't include any other stage shows, I debated if the rotating audience was enough to give this its own section. The tipping point came when my girlfriend's daughter absolutely loved the Carousel of Progress so much, she said it was her favorite ride. Having an 11-year-old say this was better than Frozen, Little Mermaid, or even the Haunted Mansion and Pirates absolutely blew my mind. It made me realize how much I actually do enjoy this ride as well. Maybe I'm just piggybacking off of someone else's joy, but the quotability and theme song shockingly puts it in the A tier for me. Finally, we end our list defending the universe from the evil Emperor Zurg. Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin is a fun ride through space where you shoot targets to get the highest score for your ride vehicle. Sticking on topic of my last trip, I don't mean to brag, but I did reach the highest rank of Galactic Hero. Maybe I did get an assist from the ride stopping for several minutes so I could farm shooting the same targets over and over again, but they can't take away this cool pin that I won. I'll put Buzz in the B tier as the spinning can get a little nauseating at times, but it's still a solid attraction. But that'll do it for my Magic Kingdom tier list. Let me know which ones you disagree with in the comments, and also let me know what other tier lists you'd like me to do in the future. So until next time, drop a like if you enjoyed this, subscribe if I earned it, and thank you for watching.